Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson sat in a sleek black SUV parked right in front of Farrington High School in Honolulu, Hawaii. The late afternoon sun blazed through the windshield, highlighting the sharp angles of his face. At 52, he was no longer the muscle-bound wrestler leaping from ropes to the ring, but his towering frame and confident stride still made him stand out in a crowd, if there had been a crowd here to recognize him. He wore a baseball cap pulled low over his eyes, a habit from his days dodging paparazzi, and glanced at his watch. "You sure you want to do this, boss?" His driver, a burly guy named Sam, leaned over from the passenger seat, eyeing him with curiosity. Sam had worked for The Rock for nearly a decade, long enough to know when his boss was cooking up something big. The Rock grinned, flashing that signature, toothy smile that had melted millions of hearts on screen. "Sam, sometimes you got to go back to where you started to see how far you've come, and to make sure you don't forget the smell of sweat in a school gym. That smell never changes." He swung the door open and stepped out, his thick-soled sneakers hitting the scorching asphalt. His knees creaked faintly. A sign of age, he often joked, was the call of old wrestling matches. But he stood tall, shoulders broad as a fortress, ready to face his memories. Farrington had changed a lot since his days here. The main gate was now painted a bright blue, the school's logo, an eagle, looking fresher than his 80s recollection. But the vibe was the same, the scent of freshly cut grass, the laughter of a few lingering students after hours, and the humid Hawaiian heat that made his shirt stick to his back. He pushed open the front doors, stepping into the air-conditioned hallway. Gray lockers still lined the walls, though now fitted with electronic locks instead of the old dials he'd once busted open after forgetting his combination. The Rock walked slowly, hands in his pockets, eyes scanning bulletin boards plastered with colorful flyers and photos of the school's football team. He paused at an old frame picture near the principal's office, the 1987 football team, with a scrawny Dwayne Johnson standing in the back row, hair wild like he'd been electrocuted. He chuckled aloud. "Looked like I just crawled out of the jungle. No one would have guessed this kid would become the sexiest man alive, huh?" The trek to the gym was a trip down memory lane. He remembered the days he got suspended for fighting, not once but 7 times in sophomore year, and the aimless feeling of being called into the principal's office. He'd been a rebellious teen, stealing from convenience stores, nearly dropping out to run with the wrong crowd. But one place always brought him peace, the school gym. Not because of the weights or treadmills, but because it was where he could unleash his anger, where he began to realize his real strength wasn't in his fists, but in his will. He pushed open the double doors to the gym, and the familiar smell hit him, a mix of polished wood floors, dried sweat, and rubber from basketballs. A group of girls practiced volleyball in the far corner, their coach's shouts drowning out the thud of the ball. But what stopped him wasn't the kids, it was a lone figure across the room. An old man, thin and white-haired, pushed a mop across the floor, his movement slow but steady, like he was painting an invisible masterpiece. He wore a gray janitor's uniform, the name Hank stitched on the chest. The Rock squinted, a flicker of recognition stirring. "No way," he muttered, stepping closer. The old man looked up at the sound of his shoes on the floor, his cloudy eyes narrowing with suspicion. "Gym's closed for volleyball practice, buddy," he said, his voice raspy but clear. "Unless you're here to pick up one of those girls." "Nah, just visiting," The Rock replied, softer than usual. "I went to school here, class of '87. He paused, studying the man's face, the deep wrinkles, the sinewy hands gripping the mop. "You're Hank, right? Hank Carter." The old man tilted his head, propped the mop against the wall, and shuffled closer, squinting as if piecing something together. "Class of '87, huh? Been a while. I've been here since '74, so I probably crossed paths with you." He looked up at The Rock, and his eyes lit up like he'd found the final piece of a puzzle. "Wait a sec. Dwayne? Dwayne Johnson? That big troublemaker kid?" The Rock laughed, the sound booming across the gym, making the volleyball girls glance over. "That's me, Hank. Not causing trouble anymore. Well, not as often." He held out a hand, but instead of shaking it, he pulled Hank into a gentle hug, careful not to crush the old man's frail shoulders. When they parted, he noticed Hank's eyes were a little red, though the old man masked it with a cough. "Dwayne Johnson, right in front of me." Hank shook his head, voice full of disbelief. "Sorry I didn't recognize you sooner." Eyes aren't what they used to be, and you're not that scrawny kid anymore. No worries, Hank, The Rock grinned. I'm not scrawny anymore, that's for sure. But I can't believe you're still here, still mopping these floors. How many years? Hank shrugged, a simple gesture laced with pride. 48 years last week. Still working? School still needs cleaning, so I'm still here. 48 years? The Rock's eyebrows shot up, voice rising in surprise. How old are you, if I can ask? 78, Hank replied, flashing a gap-toothed smile. Still strong enough to push this mop, just a bit slower than before. The Rock stared at the old man, his mind racing. He remembered Hank from his darkest days. Sophomore year, after his third suspension for fighting in the boys' bathroom, he'd considered dropping out for good. He'd sat alone in the gym after hours, punching the wall until his hands stung, when Hank walked in. The old man didn't scold him or kick him out. He just handed him a broom and said, "You've got strength in you, Dwayne. Don't waste it on anger. Mop the floor with me, and you'll feel better." He even opened the gym early each day so Dwayne could lift weights, patching up a punching bag he'd torn with duct tape. Those simple words, those small acts, had pulled him back from the edge. "You remember letting me in here early to lift weights?" The Rock asked, his voice lowering. "I was suspended. Nobody wanted anything to do with me, but you did." Hank nodded, his eyes gleaming with memory. "Sure do. You were always the first one in, last one out. Had to shoo you home for dinner, or Evelyn would have chewed me out." "Evelyn still giving you a hard time?" The Rock laughed. "Always," Hank said, his smile warm. 58 years together, and she still keeps me in line." They stood there chatting for a few more minutes until the volleyball coach blew the whistle to end practice. Hank picked up his mop. "Gotta finish this floor, then the hallway before I head home. You sticking around?" "Not long," The Rock said. "But I'd like to see you again. I'm free around 6. You up for it? I'll treat you to dinner. Maybe Mama's Kitchen. They still got the best burgers in Honolulu?" Hank thought it over, then nodded. "All right, but nothing too fancy. I don't do well with leather chairs." "Deal." The Rock clapped him on the shoulder. 6 o'clock, I'll meet you at the front gate." As he left the gym, The Rock's mind churned. Hank, 78, still working full-time, pushing a mop across the halls he'd once walked as a troubled teen. It wasn't right. The man who'd given him a chance when no one else would should be resting, enjoying life with Evelyn, not hunched over cleaning floors. He slid into the SUV, gripping the wheel, and made a decision. He'd do something. Not just a meal or a hug. He'd change Hank's life. At dusk, The Rock parked near the school gate, waiting for Hank. He'd canceled a Zoom meeting with a film producer to stay in Honolulu longer, a move that left Sam wide-eyed. "Boss, you're skipping a meeting for a janitor?" Sam asked. "Not just a janitor," The Rock corrected. "He's the guy who opened the door for me, Sam, literally and figuratively." At 6:15, Hank shuffled out of the gate, having swapped his janitor's uniform for a faded blue cotton shirt and loose khakis. He moved slowly, steadying himself on the fence. "Sorry to keep you waiting," he said. "Principal wanted a word when she saw me dressed up." "No problem." The Rock opened the car door for him. "Hop in, Hank, I'm starving." Hank eyed the SUV wide-eyed. "You're driving me in this?" "Fanciest thing I've ridden in was my grandson's pickup at his wedding." "Welcome to Team Rock," he laughed, helping Hank inside. On the way to Mama's Kitchen, Hank pointed out Honolulu's changes. The old fish market, now a mall. The theater where he'd taken Evelyn, now a retail store. The Rock nodded, but his mind stayed on Hank. "Mama's Kitchen still got those burgers?" he asked. "Still the best since you were a kid," Hank replied. "Your mom used to bring you there after games, right?" "Yeah," The Rock nodded. "Now I'm treating you. Payback for all those gym mornings." Mama's Kitchen came into view, a small diner with a wooden sign and steamy windows. Inside, the smell of grilled meat and fries filled the air. A middle-aged waitress, her tag reading Lonnie, approached their table. "What can I get you to?" She froze, staring at The Rock. "Oh my God, are you?" "That's me," The Rock grinned, waving her off. "Just 2 menus, please." As Lonnie scurried away, whispering to her coworkers, Hank chuckled. "Must be weird being this famous, huh?" "Used to it," The Rock shrugged. "But I want to hear about you. 48 years at Farrington. You never got tired of it?" Hank gazed out the window at the streetlights flickering on. "It's just a job. Someone's gotta clean, and I like being around the kids. They keep me feeling alive." "Why not retire?" The Rock asked, gentle but serious. "At your age, you should be on a beach, sipping coconut water with Evelyn." Hank gave a small laugh, but his eyes dimmed. Retirement's for people with money, Dwayne. Evelyn and I get by, but there's no cushion. She's got heart trouble, been in a wheelchair for years. Meds and bills eat everything up. The Rock went quiet, gripping his water glass. He pictured Evelyn, the woman who'd once brought Hank sandwiches at school, now trapped in a house unfit for a wheelchair. "How's your family?" he pressed. "2 kids living on the mainland now," Hank said, brightening. 4 grandkids, 1 great-grandkid. They're busy, don't visit much. Evelyn says not to worry, but I know she misses them. They ordered burgers and chocolate shakes and kept talking. Hank shared how he'd started at Farrington after the Army and a failed stint at a lumberyard. "Didn't plan to be a janitor forever," he said, "but I grew to love it. Watching kids grow up, seeing you go from a punk to this, it's worth it." The Rock set his shakedown. "You remember when I got suspended for fighting? I was ready to drop out. You found me in the gym, handed me a broom, told me to clean instead of punching walls. Said I had strength, not to waste it." Hank nodded. "You hit that wall so hard I thought it'd cave in. Just figured you needed something to cool off. Never thought you'd turn into a star." "You didn't just give me a broom," The Rock said, voice low. "You gave me a shot. Without you, I don't know where I'd be." Hank waved it off. "Just doing my job, Dwayne." They finished eating, The Rock paying over Hank's protests. He drove Hank home, a modest house on the outskirts, peeling paint, leaky roof, cracked driveway. Hank invited him in, and inside, Evelyn greeted him from her wheelchair, eyes bright despite her frail body. "Dwayne Johnson in my house?" she laughed. "Hank, what wild story did you tell to drag him here?" "Just dinner, Evelyn." The Rock bent to shake her hand. "Mind if I look around?" He wandered, pretending to admire family photos, but really noting the narrow doors, uneven floors, and the worn couch where Hank slept to give Evelyn the bed. As he left, he gripped Hank's hand hard. "Thanks for tonight, and for back then." "No need, Dwayne," Hank said. "You make me proud." Driving back to his hotel, The Rock scrolled through sneaky photos he'd taken of the house. Hank had opened a door for him. Now he'd opened one for Hank. Not just a house, but a whole new life. Dwayne. The Rock Johnson sat in the plush hotel room in downtown Honolulu, the glow of the city lights below filtering through the large window. It was nearly midnight, but sleep eluded him. In his hand was his phone, its screen illuminated with the sneaky photos he'd taken of Hank and Evelyn Carter's home. A leaky roof, narrow doors, uneven floors, and the worn-out couch where Hank slept each night. Each image felt like a punch to his pride, not because he was ashamed of their situation, but because he couldn't stomach the idea that the man who'd helped him rise was living like this. He set the phone down, rose from the chair, and stepped onto the balcony. The Hawaiian sea breeze swept through, carrying the scent of salt and the distant sound of waves. The Rock took a deep breath, gripping the railing tight. "Hank gave me a chance," he muttered to himself. "Opened a door for me when no one else would. Now it's my turn to pay it back. Not just a door, but a whole new road for him." He returned inside, pulled his laptop from his suitcase, and started typing. First, he messaged Lisa Kane, his manager in Los Angeles. "Lisa, I need to talk ASAP. Call me as soon as you're up. This isn't about movies, it's bigger." Next, he dialed John Cena, his old wrestling buddy, always ready to step into the ring for whatever match The Rock threw his way. The phone rang twice before Cena's warm, gravelly voice answered. "Dwayne, calling this late? This better not be about my gym routine. What's up, man?" "John, I just reconnected with someone from high school." The Rock began, his voice thick with emotion. "Hank Carter, the janitor at Farrington. He's 78, still working, living in a crumbling house with his wheelchair-bound wife. He helped me when I was about to drop out, opened the gym for me, gave me an outlet. Now I want to help him big time." Cena went quiet for a moment, then chuckled. "Sounds like one of your movie scripts. What's the plan? Fix the house? Send him on vacation?" "Not just a fix," The Rock said firmly. "I want a full overhaul. Make it a real home, wheelchair ramps, new beds, the works. Then pay off their mortgage, set up a fund so he can retire, cover Evelyn's medical bills. But it's got to be fast, 10 days. 10 days, Cena whistled. "You kidding? That kind of reno takes months, Dwayne." "I'm not kidding," The Rock cut in. "Money's no object. I need the best team and I need you to distract them while we work. You free? Cena laughed heartily. Free? Hell yeah, I'm in. I'll fly to Hawaii tomorrow if you want. How do I distract them? I'll invite them to a special getaway in Waikiki, The Rock explained. Pretend it's a school reward or something. You play a Farrington alum, take them out, keep them busy. I'll handle the rest. Done, Cena agreed. But you owe me a one-on-one match after this. Deal? The Rock grinned. Get here as soon as you can, brother. After the call, The Rock kept going. He opened his laptop searching for contractors in Honolulu. He landed on a name, Kimo Alvarez, a local builder known for fast, quality work. He fired off an email. Hey Kimo, Dwayne Johnson here. I've got an urgent project, full home reno in 10 days. Money's no issue, but time is. Meet me tomorrow, 8 a.m., Marriott Waikiki. Keep it quiet. Next, he called Dr. Mia Lopez, a healthcare expert who'd helped his mom set up in-home care. Mia, I need you in Honolulu, he said when she picked up. An elderly friend needs a wheelchair-friendly house, plus medical gear. Can you do it? Dwayne, I'm always on board for you, Mia replied. Send me the address and details, I'll plan it out. By 2 a.m., The Rock was still awake. He called Paul Tran, his financial advisor in Miami. Paul, I need a trust fund set up for a couple. Pay off their house, cover medical costs, monthly income for retirement. Can you do it in a week? Paul yawned through the phone. Dwayne, 2 a.m. for this? Fine, but I need details. Email me. I'll start this morning. Perfect, The Rock said. Thanks, Paul. This is the most important thing I've ever done. The next morning, The Rock stood in a small meeting room at the Marriott Waikiki, gripping a cup of black coffee. He wore a tight black tee and cargo pants, looking like he'd stepped off an action flick set. Kimo Alvarez arrived on time, a sturdy Hawaiian man with salt and pepper hair and a firm handshake. Dwayne Johnson, Kimo said, eyes lighting up. I know you from movies, but didn't expect this. What's the Rush project? The Rock opened his laptop, projecting photos of Hank's house onto the screen. This is Hank Carter's place. Farrington janitor for 48 years. He's 78. His wife's got heart issues, uses a wheelchair. This house isn't safe. Leaky roof, tight doors, bad floors. I want a total redo. Wheelchair access, new bathroom, double bed, everything. Done in 10 days. Kimo studied the photos, rubbing his chin. 10 days? Impossible, man. A job like this takes 2 months, even with a big crew. Money's not the issue, The Rock stressed, locking eyes with Kimo. I want your best team. 3 shifts, 24/7. I'll pay double if I have to. But it's hush-hush. No social media, no press. Kimo frowned, then nodded slowly. If you're serious, I can swing it. But I'll need a huge team and resources now. When do we start? Friday, The Rock said. I'll get them out of the house by then. You've got 3 days to prep. All right, Kimo agreed, jotting notes. I'll call my guys. You're crazy, Dwayne. Crazy's my brand, The Rock laughed, clapping Kimo's shoulder. As Kimo left, Dr. Mia Lopez walked in, tablet loaded with charts. Dwayne, I reviewed your photos, she said. That house needs major work for wheelchair use. Wider doors, step-free shower, grab bars. Evelyn's got heart issues, right? I can add a heart monitor and home aids. Fantastic, The Rock nodded. I want her comfortable, no worries. Can you pull it off in 10 days? Mia smiled. For you, I'll make it happen. I need to measure the place soon. I'll arrange it, The Rock promised. Thanks, Mia. That afternoon, The Rock drove to Farrington, parking near the gate to catch Hank again. He pulled his cap lower, dodging curious glances from passing students. He called the school office. Hey, it's Dwayne Johnson. I need to speak to Hank Carter. After a brief wait, Hank's voice came through. Dwayne, you again? Something fun going on? Hank, I've got a surprise for you and Evelyn, The Rock said, voice brimming with excitement. I'm setting up a little getaway in Waikiki for some Farrington alums. I'd love for you both to come. Starting this Friday, wheelchair accessible transport, all free. Hank paused. For real? That's too kind, Dwayne. But Evelyn's frail. Travel's tough. I've got it covered, The Rock reassured him. Special van, comfy stay, all set. You deserve a break. Let me check with Evelyn, Hank said. But it sounds nice. Thanks, kid. Hanging up, The Rock grinned. He had the perfect excuse to get the Carters out. He texted Cena. Friday, Waikiki. Play an alum, keep 'em happy, don't spill. Cena shot back. Got it, big man. I'll have 'em laughing so hard they won't ask where you are. That night, The Rock sat with his laptop, reviewing Paul Tran's email. The trust was drafted, mortgage payoff, about $150,000, $5,000 monthly income, lifetime health care for Evelyn. Done in 8 days, Paul wrote. You're dead serious about this. He called Kevin Hart, his funny friend always up for a cause. Kevin, I need you to chip in on a secret project, The Rock said. No publicity, just helping someone special. Dwayne, if you say secret, I'm in. Kevin laughed over the line. But don't make me swing a hammer. My hands are tiny. No hammer, The Rock replied. Just cash in your quiet mouth. At 1 a.m., The Rock stood on the balcony again, gazing at the ocean. The plan was taking shape. A new home, financial security, a distraction getaway. He pictured Hank walking into the finished house, Evelyn smiling from her wheelchair as she rolled into the kitchen. This isn't a movie, he told himself. This is real, and it's going to change everything. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stood in the driveway of Mr. Hank and Mrs. Evelyn Carter's modest home, arms crossed, watching as the first wave of chaos descended. It was Friday morning, and the sun was barely peeking over the Honolulu horizon, casting golden streaks across the overgrown yard. The black SUV carrying Hank and Evelyn had just pulled away, headed for their special vacation in Waikiki with John Cena at the wheel. The Rock's phone buzzed with a text from Cena. They're on board. Hank's already telling me war stories from Farrington. Evelyn loves the van. We're good. Showtime, The Rock muttered, clapping his hands together like he was about to step into a wrestling ring. Within minutes, the quiet street erupted into controlled madness. Trucks and vans lined the curb, disgorging workers in hard hats and tool belts. Kimo Alvarez, the contractor, strode up with a clipboard, his face a mix of determination and disbelief. Dwayne, you weren't kidding about this, Kimo said, gesturing to the swarm of activity. I've got 40 guys here, split into 3 shifts. We're running 24/7 starting now. Roof team's ready, plumbers are under the house, and electricians are checking the wiring. You still sure about this 10-day thing? Dead sure, The Rock replied, his voice firm but laced with his signature grin. Hank gave me a shot when I was a punk kid. I'm giving him a home he deserves. No shortcuts, Kimo. Make it perfect. Kimo nodded, barking orders to his crew. The Rock watched as ladders clanged against the house, and the roof team began tearing off the old leaky shingles with a rhythm that reminded him of a film set in fast forward. Inside, demolition had already started. Workers in masks ripped out the narrow bathroom fixtures, while others took down a wall, blocking Evelyn's wheelchair path. The air filled with the sounds of hammers, saws, and the occasional shout in Hawaiian pidgin. The Rock didn't just stand there. He grabbed a sledgehammer from a worker, flashed a grin, and swung it into a rotting section of drywall. If I can take down Triple H, I can take down this wall, he roared, dust flying as the crew cheered. For a moment, he was back in the ring. Sweat, adrenaline, and purpose pumping through him. By noon, the house was unrecognizable. The roof was half gone, replaced with fresh plywood sheathing. The bathroom was down to studs, with plumbers installing new pipes for a roll-in shower. In the kitchen, cabinets were yanked out, and marks on the walls outlined lower replacements Evelyn could reach from her chair. Kimo approached with an update, wiping sweat from his brow. We're ahead of schedule. Foundation for the back ramps pouring this afternoon. New windows come tomorrow. Found some termite damage in the bathroom floor, though. We're replacing it now. Do it all, The Rock said, clapping Kimo on the shoulder. No half measures. This is for Hank. Outside, the noise had drawn a crowd. Neighbors peeked from porches, kids on bikes circled the block, and an elderly woman named Mrs. Leilani shuffled across the street, clutching a tray of homemade pineapple bread. What's happening to the Carter's place? She asked, squinting up at The Rock. Are they moving? Nah, just some upgrades, The Rock said smoothly, keeping the cover story intact. They're on vacation, so we're fixing things up while they're gone. Mrs. Leilani studied him, then gasped. You're that movie star, The Rock. I saw you in that jungle film with my grandkids. Guilty as charged, he chuckled, taking the bread. Thanks for this. My crew's gonna love it. Word spread fast. By mid-afternoon, more neighbors gathered, whispering as they recognized him. Is that really The Rock? What's he doing at Hank's house? I heard he went to Farrington. A local news van rolled up, But The Rock intercepted the reporter before she could set up her camera. "No filming," he said firmly, his 6.5 frame towering over her. "This is private. Respect that, yeah?" The reporter, a young woman named Kalani, nodded after a brief standoff. "Okay, Mr. Johnson, but can we come back when it's done? People will want to know." "Maybe," he said, flashing a diplomatic smile. "But it's not about me. Keep that in mind." As the day wore on, the project took on a life of its own. Mrs. Leilani returned with more food, taro rolls this time, and stayed to chat. "Hank's the best man on this street," she told The Rock. "When my husband broke his leg years ago, Hank mowed our lawn every week. Never asked for a dime. He deserves this." Her words lit a spark. Soon others shared their own Hank stories. The mail carrier, a wiry guy named Eddie, said, "Hank shoveled my walkway during that freak storm up in the hills. Took him hours, but he wouldn't let me help." A young mom pushing a stroller added, "He fixed my car when my kid was sick and I couldn't afford a mechanic. Dropped off a casserole the next day too." A teenager in a Farrington hoodie grinned. "Mr. Carter paid for my wrestling shoes when I couldn't. Said he saw me practicing in the gym." The Rock listened, his chest tightening with each tale. Hank wasn't just his hero, he was everyone's. What started as a personal mission was turning into something bigger, something communal. He pulled Chemo aside. "This isn't just a house anymore. It's a thank you from all of us." By evening, floodlights bathed the property as the first shift handed off to the second. Food trucks arrived, courtesy of The Rock's wallet, serving Kahlua pork and rice to the crew. John Cena texted an update from Waikiki. "Hank's teaching me how to fish off the pier. Evelyn's obsessed with the view. They're clueless. You owe me a beer." The Rock grinned, picturing Cena flailing with a fishing rod. "Good man," he muttered, then walked through the half-demolished house. The old roof was fully off, the new one taking shape under the lights. Inside, electricians pulled fresh wiring, and the widened hallway looked like a different world. In the backyard, a landscaping team cleared overgrown bushes, sketching out raised garden beds for Evelyn. "She loves orchids," he told them. "Make it special." Around midnight, a delivery truck rumbled up with a hospital-grade adjustable bed, big enough for Hank and Evelyn to sleep together again. "Where's this going?" the driver asked. "Storage pod for now," Chemo directed. "Bedroom's not ready yet." The Rock stayed until 2 a.m., exhaustion tugging at him. "Get some rest," Chemo said. "We've got this. Tomorrow's huge." Driving back to the hotel, The Rock's mind raced. The physical transformation was underway, but the financial pieces were falling into place too. Paul Tran had emailed. The trust was nearly finalized, mortgage payoff was in motion, and medical coverage was secured. This wasn't just about a house, it was about freedom for Hank and Evelyn. He thought of Hank unlocking the gym for him all those years ago, a small act that led to wrestling rings, Hollywood, and a life he'd never dreamed of. Now he was unlocking something for them. The next morning, The Rock was back at the site before sunrise, caffeine buzzing through him. The third shift was still hammering away, the new roof now half shingled. Chemo handed him a coffee. "We're killing it," he reported. "Kitchen's gutted, bathroom pipes are in, electrical's done in the main areas. HVAC's next. It's ancient. Replace it," The Rock said. "No band-aids, build it to last." He drove to Waikiki to check on Hank and Evelyn, finding them on the beach house deck sipping coffee. "Dwayne," Evelyn called, her smile wide. "This place is paradise. Where have you been?" "Business stuff," he said casually, sitting beside them. "You two good?" "Better than good," Hank said. "John's taking us on a boat tour later. You joining?" "Got meetings," The Rock lied. "But I'll catch up tonight." Evelyn patted his hand. "You're spoiling us, you know that?" "You deserve it," he said, meaning every word. Her ease with the accessible bathroom confirmed what he already knew. Their home needed this too. Back at the site, progress roared on. The roof was nearly done, the ramp foundation set. Inside, drywall went up and painters followed. The Rock texted Dr. Mia Lopez. "Therapy gear for Evelyn. Status?" She replied, "Ordered. Small gym area in the spare room. She'll love it." By day 3, the community took over. A local flooring company donated bamboo planks for the living room. Farrington students showed up with paint cans, begging to help. "Mr. Carter was my hero," one kid said. "He'd sneak me snacks when I skipped lunch." A flower shop owner, Leilani's niece, offered orchids for the garden. Auntie told me what you're doing, she said. Evelyn taught me to garden when I was little. The Rock's phone buzzed with a call from Kevin Hart. Dwayne, I'm in. Sent you a chunk of cash. What's this secret project? You building a wrestling ring or what? Nope, The Rock laughed. A home for a legend. You'll see soon. Dude, you're too nice, Kevin quipped. Don't tell my wife. She'll expect me to start doing this stuff. Cena arrived that afternoon, fresh from Waikiki. They're having a blast, he reported. Hank's swapping stories with some fake alumni I rounded up. Evelyn's planning a luau. No clue about this. Perfect, The Rock said, showing him the house. Look at this, man. Cena whistled. This ain't the same place. You're a magician, Dwayne. It's not just me, The Rock said, nodding to the volunteers now painting the porch. A group of Farrington grads, some from his own class, rolled up, brushes in hand. Heard you're fixing Hank's place, one said. We're in. Grab a roller, The Rock grinned, tossing them supplies. By evening, he gathered the core team. We're halfway there, he announced. Structure's solid. Now it's finishes and details. Every second counts. The crowd, workers, neighbors, students, nodded, their energy electric. That night, as floodlights hummed and the crew pushed on, The Rock got a photo from Cena, Hank and Evelyn laughing on the beach house deck, sunset glowing behind them. They deserve this, he said softly, the weight of their stories fueling him. What started as his mission was now a movement, one he couldn't have predicted. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stood in the freshly paved driveway of the Carter home, his heart pounding like it did before a big match. The sun was dipping low over Honolulu, painting the sky in streaks of orange and pink, and the air buzzed with anticipation. It was day 10, the final stretch of his audacious plan, and everything was ready, or as ready as it could be after a whirlwind of sweat, grit, and sleepless nights. The house behind him gleamed. New roof shingles glistened. The widened front door stood proud, with a sleek ramp curving up to it, and the yard bloomed with orchids and raised beds tailored for Evelyn's reach. Inside, every detail had been polished, literally and figuratively. He checked his watch, 5:45 p.m. John Cena's text had come an hour ago. Leaving Waikiki now? Hank's asking why we're heading home early. Told him it's a surprise from the school. ETA 6 OAS. The Rock adjusted his cap, took a deep breath, and turned to the small army gathered behind him. Workers in paint-splattered shirts mingled with neighbors holding signs. Mahalo, Hank, and you're our hero, while Farrington students clutched balloons and leis. Kimo Alvarez stood nearby, arms crossed, a rare smile breaking through his usually gruff demeanor. All right, people, The Rock called, his voice booming like he was rallying a crowd at WrestleMania. They're almost here. No shouting until I cut the ribbon, got it? We're giving Hank and Evelyn the shock of their lives. In a good way. A ripple of laughter and nods spread through the group. He glanced at the red ribbon stretched across the ramp, a pair of oversized scissors resting on a table beside it. Kimo, last check? Locked and loaded, Kimo replied. Final inspection's done. Furniture's in, systems are live, garden's perfect. You're cutting it close, but we pulled it off. Close is my style. The Rock grinned, clapping Kimo's shoulder. You're a beast, man. All of you are. He stepped back, scanning the scene. The house wasn't just rebuilt, it was reborn. The once sagging roof now arched confidently. The cramped interior had been opened into a flowing space with bamboo floors, and sunlight poured through energy-efficient windows. The bedroom held a king-sized adjustable bed with memory foam, ending Hank's nights on the sofa. The bathroom boasted a roll-in shower with grab bars, and the kitchen counters were lowered, stocked with new appliances Evelyn could use without strain. A corner of the spare room housed a mini therapy gym, handrails, a recumbent bike, and a heart monitor, courtesy of Dr. Mia Lopez's expertise. Outside, the surprises kept coming. A smart home system let them control lights and temperature with voice commands, a gift from a local tech startup inspired by Hank's story. The backyard featured a shaded patio with a swing big enough for two, overlooking Evelyn's orchid beds. And hidden in a sleek cabinet by the front door was a collection of old wrestling magazines, Hank's favorites, salvaged from his stash, now framed and preserved. The Rock's phone buzzed again. Cena, 2 minutes out, get ready. He pocketed it, adrenaline surging. Positions, everyone, he barked. The crowd shuffled into place, some ducking behind bushes, others lining the driveway with their signs. He grabbed the scissors, standing solo at the ramp's base, the only figure visible from the street. Headlights appeared around the corner, and the black accessible van rolled into view. Through the windshield, The Rock glimpsed Cena's broad grin, Hank's furrowed brow, and Evelyn's curious tilt of her head. The van eased to a stop and Cena hopped out, circling to open the side door. The ramp lowered with a soft hum, and Evelyn's wheelchair emerged first, followed by Hank, his steps cautious but steady. "Dwayne," Hank called, spotting him immediately. "What's all this? You said it was a school thing." "Sort of," The Rock replied, keeping his tone light. "Come closer, Mr. Hank. Mrs. Evelyn, you too. I've got something to show you." Evelyn wheeled forward, her eyes narrowing as she took in the house. "That's our place? It looks different. Did the city do this?" "Nope," The Rock said, stepping aside to reveal the ribbon. "This is from me and a few friends. Welcome home." He snipped the ribbon with a flourish, and the crowd erupted from their hiding spots, cheering and waving signs. Balloons floated up, and leis rained down as students rushed to drape them over Hank and Evelyn. Hank froze, his mouth dropping open. Evelyn gripped her chair's armrests, tears welling as she scanned the transformed facade. "What in the world?" she whispered. "Dwayne, what did you do?" "Only what you deserve," he said, crouching beside her. "Let's take a look inside." Cena pushed Evelyn's chair up the ramp, smooth and effortless, while The Rock guided Hank, whose hands trembled as he gripped the railing. The front door swung open, revealing the bright, open living room. Sunlight danced off the bamboo floors, and a new sectional sofa faced a flat-screen TV mounted above a fireplace they'd never had before. "Holy!" Hank trailed off, turning in a slow circle. "This can't be ours. It's too much." "It's yours," The Rock said, steering them toward the kitchen. "Check this out." Evelyn gasped as she rolled in, her hands brushing the lowered counters, fingers tracing the edge of a gleaming stove. "I can cook again," she murmured, voice cracking. "I haven't reached a stove in years." "Keep going," The Rock urged, leading them to the bedroom. The adjustable bed dominated the space, flanked by nightstands with reading lamps. Hank sat on it gingerly, then lay back, the mattress molding to him. "No more sofa," he said, almost to himself. "Evelyn, we can sleep together again." She wheeled beside him, squeezing his hand. "It's like a dream." The Rock grinned, pointing to the bathroom. "Wait till you see this." Evelyn rolled in, her breath hitching at the spacious shower, the seat built in, the grab bars gleaming. "No more sponge baths in the kitchen?" She laughed through tears. "Dwayne, how?" "Team effort," he said simply, guiding them to the therapy room. Evelyn's eyes widened at the Baiken monitor. "Dr. Mia set this up," he explained, "for your heart and your strength." They moved to the backyard, where the patio swing swayed gently. Evelyn touched an orchid, its purple petals vivid against the green. "My flowers," she whispered. "I thought I'd never garden again." Hank stood silent, staring at the swing, then turned to The Rock. "Why us? Why all this?" The Rock took a deep breath, his voice softening. "Because you opened a door for me, Hank. Literally, those gym mornings when I was a mess. You didn't just give me a broom, you gave me a chance to figure out who I could be. This is me saying thank you, from a kid who wouldn't be here without you." Before Hank could reply, the crowd filtered in. Neighbors, students, workers. Mrs. Leilani stepped forward, her voice steady. "Hank, you mowed my lawn when I couldn't. This is our mahalo too." Eddie the mailman added, "You shoveled my walk. I owed you." A Farrington grad, now a teacher, said, "You paid for my shoes. We all pitched in." Hank blinked rapidly, overwhelmed. "I didn't do much. You did everything," The Rock cut in. "And there's more." He pulled an envelope from his pocket, handing it to Hank. "Your mortgage is paid off. There's a trust, $5,000 a month forever. Evelyn's medical bills? Covered. You're retiring, Hank. No more mopping floors." Evelyn sobbed openly now, clutching the envelope as Hank stared at it, speechless. "Dwayne," he started, then stopped, pulling The Rock into a shaky hug. "I just gave you a broom. And I gave you a home," The Rock said, hugging back. "Fair trade." The crowd pressed closer, sharing their own thanks. A girl in a Farrington hoodie slipped a lei over Evelyn's shoulders. "You taught me to bake," she said. "This is from my mom, too." An old man with a cane nodded at Hank. You fixed my fence in '92. Never forgot it. Cena, towering beside the Rock, leaned in. You're a softie, you know that? Shut it, the Rock laughed, wiping his eyes discreetly. You're crying too. As night fell, the street turned into a celebration. Food trucks rolled up. Loco Moco, Shave Ice, Poke, paid for by The Rock and Kevin Hart's contribution. Music played, a ukulele strumming somewhere, and people danced under string lights Chemo's crew had strung up. Hank and Evelyn sat on their new swing, hands clasped, watching it all. Dwayne, Evelyn called, beckoning him over. You didn't just fix our house. You gave us our life back. And you gave me mine, he said, sitting beside them. That gym door you opened, Hank. It led here. Hank chuckled, his voice rough with emotion. Guess I'm a better janitor than I thought. The best, The Rock said, squeezing his shoulder. Later, as the party wound down, The Rock slipped inside to the cabinet by the door. He opened it, revealing the framed wrestling magazines, covers of him in his prime, alongside Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Hank followed, his eyes lighting up. My collection. You kept it. Framed it, The Rock corrected. Your stories shaped me. Now they're art. Hank traced a frame, shaking his head. You're something else, Dwayne. The Rock stepped outside, the crowd thinning, stars dotting the sky. He felt lighter than he had in years. Not from fame or fortune, but from this. The house glowed, a beacon of what one act of kindness could spark. He knew the story wasn't over. Not yet.